Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, this week I've had a very busy week filming, which means I haven't been here at the garage an awful lot. So I thought today I'd do a quick garage tour, because some of these cars I haven't actually seen in the flesh before, so they'll be as much of a surprise to you as they are to me. We might as well start off then with this BMW 1 Series. Now, I have seen this before. I picked it up, it was a local main dealer part exchange. I picked it up from them and took it to the valeters. So I've driven it, I know it's a decent one. It's a late 2013 63 1 Series diesel. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the 1 Series, especially this era, to be honest, but they always seem to sell well, and I thought this was a nice one. It's got a number of things going for it. So it's in a good colour, it's an M Sport, the mileage is nice. For a 10-year-old car, it's only done 62,000 miles. And although the spec is a bit boring, it's very cheap to run. And I just know it'll sell. It's a nice, clean, tight car. And it doesn't need an awful lot doing to it. I'll give it a service and MOT, and that's it. Over here then, behind me, this is one of those cars I was talking about because I haven't actually seen this car before. This is a 2019 Golf. I know what you're thinking, I'm an excellent detective. It's manual, it's got the diamond cut wheels, I've just spotted, and it's done 49,000 miles. Now the trouble is with Golfs, they're always an awful lot of money for what they are. I just don't think they represent great value for money, to be honest, but they are popular and they do seem to sell well. So I thought, why not? On top of that, it's a good colour combination, it's got quite a lot going for it really. Over here to the right then is the Corsa VXR. Now you'll have seen this in a previous video. I think I picked this up in the day in the life video that I did. I picked it up from the valeters, brought it back here and took some photographs of it. But it needed a little bit of paintwork, which I've since had done, and it needed the wheels refurbishing. So I took it over to Prestige and had those done. It's got those nice diamond cut wheels, so I had to get them done properly. And that's pretty much it. It's ready to go. It's a nice car, that. We've had bits of interest in it, but the trouble with these kinds of cars, they attract people with modified cars in part exchange, and I don't like that. I prefer originality. So we've had about half a dozen emails that I've seen that say, oh, would you take my Fiesta ST and swap? And then when you see the photograph they've attached, it looks like it's just driven straight off the cover of Max Power or one of those magazines. It's not my cup of tea at all. So I'll have to wait and try and find a nice genuine part exchange. Over here then, this is interesting, we've got a Porsche 718 Boxster. Now I've never actually had a 718 Boxster before, but I'm a big fan of the Boxster in general. I just think they represent great value compared to the 911. Unless you're really hammering it around a track, you don't need a 911. I'd rather have a Boxster, it's just better value. Rather disappointingly though with the new 718, it comes with a 4-cylinder engine. So this is a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine rather than a flat 6. Now I'll be honest, when I first drove this, I took it to Prestige to have the wheels done because they were a bit curbed. I didn't actually notice that it was only a 4-cylinder. It drives really well and it sounds quite throaty. It was only when I was loading the advert I thought, oh yeah, it's a 2-litre turbo. Anyway, it's the way they're going. Now it's a really nice example this, and it's only done 34,000 miles and it is ready to go. It's got a full Porsche history, it's automatic, it's quite a nice spec. It's the sort of thing I'd have, to be honest. And you know what, now I've sold my blue Mercedes AMG GT, this is the kind of car that I should have as like a fun toy car. I'm not going to rush into it yet because I can't really afford to, but it's sort of half the price of the AMG. And it will still provide the thrills that I want on a Sunday afternoon. Right over here then, we've got a nice Mercedes C-Class. This is a C220 diesel, and it's quite low mileage. It's only done 20-odd thousand miles. 25,000 miles to be precise. I'm not a huge fan of the colour. It's a little bit of an old man colour, in my opinion. But these cars are really good. Again, this is the kind of thing that I should have as a commuter car. But if I were to buy one myself, I would pick an Estate, I think. I do like the Estate. A nice AMG line Estate. They're just a really pleasant car to drive, and I love the interiors. Should we head outside then onto the forecourt while the sun's out? Right, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm putting my sunglasses on. So this Kia Ceed I've had for a long time now, and I can't really understand why. It's priced well, and the fact that the mileage is quite high means that it's good value. Had this done 30,000 miles, it'd be £4 more. So I thought by now somebody would have snapped it up, but that hasn't been the case. It's even under warranty still. It's 7-year warranty for another, well, it's 7 years or 100,000 miles, and I think it's done 92, so it's got another 8,000 miles of warranty left. I've just had it serviced using genuine Kia parts just to retain that. Over here we've got a Nissan Qashqai. Now I think that arrived during the day in the life video. I think you've seen that one before. And again, that's higher miles, but it represents good value because it's a late 2018 68 reg. It's quite a modern car for that sort of money. But as yet, we've had no interest in it. Over here, we've got a nice little low mileage one owner Kia Picanto. Now I've spent quite a bit of money on that. When I bought it, it had some hideous aftermarket trims. So I went to Kia and bought a set of brand new genuine trims, wheel trims, and they were about 200 quid. Anyway, in addition to that, it's had a service, MOT, so it's good to go. I think actually I've had that buffed. The paint on these is, well, a lot of these are non-metallic and they're quite flat. So, or they go flat quite easily, so that's had a buff. This is my little Corsa. Now, again, when I bought this, it looked a bit sorry for itself. It's got these diamond cut wheels, which were all scuffed and marked. The whole bodywork looked quite flat and, you know, it's covered in dust right now, to be honest. Now we've had some hot weather. But the whole bodywork just looked a bit flat and there were a few little dents on it. So I had the guys out from Dents to pop the dents out. I've had the wheels refurbished. I know it looks nice and tidy. And it's a, what's the model called? An Excite or something it's called. So it's a little 1.2 litre petrol engine. It's done 72,000 miles. But because it's an Excite, it's got things like heated seats and a heated steering wheel. So, yeah, that's that. Ah, you know what? I should do this more often. I've just remembered I need to order a parcel shelf for that. What I should do is get a job list going. I need to order one for that. Over there is a petrol 3 litre turbocharged V6 Audi A8. Now I think you'll have seen that in my last video. We've had no interest in it at all, which is weird. The miles are low and it's a really lovely car. And the fact that it's petrol means that it's, you know, ULEZ and all that sort of stuff. I just expected by now to have sold that to somebody in London or, you know, Bristol or one of those places where they've got those cameras. And as yet, that just hasn't happened. Behind me, you might think, or you might question my judgment here with this. It's a 2005 Hyundai Tucson petrol. Now it came in part exchange and it's a bit old to retail, to be honest. But when I saw it and when I drove it, I thought there's still some life left in this. The previous owner had looked after it really well. It was in really good condition. The tyres were really good and it just drove really, well, nice and tight really. So I ran it down to my mechanics, spent, I don't know, about £500 on it on various bits and pieces. Then I took it to Jimmy's, where it had a full buff and a little bit of paint on the bonnet edge. There was a little bit of rust bubbling, so I've had that done. So it's a really nice clean car, that now. And I just thought it would do somebody, some family or some, you know, somebody that needs a practical, spacious car. It's all right for not a lot of money. I mean, it's only done 76,000 miles as well. So there is plenty of life left still in that. Where else should we go? Ah, something else that's good about these. You've got the split tailgate, so you can open just the glass part or the full thing. Another reason I kept this car is when I checked its history, it was really clean. So it had never been written off, it had never been stolen, never had its mileage rolled back, and there was no outstanding finance. And the MOT history was really good. Now, as always, I checked it out using Car Vertical, which is something I really can't recommend enough. So if you want to do one of these checks for yourself, you can save yourself 20% off each and every check that you do if you use my promo code HIGHPEAK. That's HIGHPEAK, all one word, or alternatively, click the link below in the video description. Click the link below in the video description. Let me show you quickly how it works then. So all you do is go to carvertical.com, type in the reg or the VIN. So in this case, the reg is Mike Whiskey 55 Mike Delta Kilo. Check vehicle. Now this gathers data and information from 35 different countries' databases and it checks hundreds of millions of cars. So it isn't just a UK thing. It only takes a couple of minutes, it isn't that expensive, and like I say, you can save yourself 20% if you use the promo code HIGHPEAK. So if it's had a bump in Barcelona or a prang in Poland, this will tell us. So thanks Car Vertical for sponsoring today's video. Right, next car then. Over here then we've got a 2019 Mazda 2. Now these are really good cars actually, I do rate these. This is a little petrol engine. And it's one of those cars that's often overlooked, unfairly in my opinion, because they're very good. They're very reliable and they're quite good fun to drive, to be honest. That one's finished in like a dark midnight blue metallic and it looks nice. Behind me we've got another Qashqai and we've got a Mini Countryman. Now this one's just arrived. This is one of those that I haven't seen. I say just arrived, it's arrived this week, which is why it's covered in dust. And I've forgotten to unlock that one, but it's automatic, it's quite nice miles and it's quite a good spec. So that'll certainly sell in no time, I would have thought. Over here, now this has been in stock for about a month or so. This is a Kia Sportage GT line automatic, and it's done 117,000 miles, so it is a bit up on the miles, but the history is very good. I bought that directly from a Kia main dealer. I guess the miles put them off retailing it themselves. But again, it's a really nice car, and the fact that it's the GT line means that it looks a bit sporty. Now it's the same old story really. Had that done 40,000 miles, it'd be 5 grand more. So the fact it's done 117,000 miles means it looks like quite good value, in my opinion. Obviously not in anyone else's because it's still here. Then we've got another, this kind of thing bothers me because I haven't been here this week. I've kind of neglected it and it shows. I meant to order that. I picked this up last week and I meant to order a new number plate plinth for it. I haven't done yet.
Quite handy with tape, aren't you?
Yeah, I didn't do that. In fact, it doesn't need a new plinth. Someone's just stuck these plates on. It had a private plate, you see, this car, so I'm guessing. Right, no, doesn't need a new plinth at all. It just wants drilling. I'll do that in a minute. I'll take back what I said. So I bought that last week. That, actually, it's a boring spec. It's not even a KX or anything or a GT line. It's a 1.6 petrol and it's done 94,000 miles, but the service history is impeccable and it drives really well. If you were to cover up the odometer, you'd think it had done half that miles. So I was quite impressed with that, really. So we've got two 4th gen Kia Sportages there. And again, at under 10 grand, they just look like great value. Over here, we've got a Kia Carens, which I dropped I made a mistake with that one. So it is a 2015 Kia Carens diesel, and I bought it and the clutch was a little bit low like they often are in Kias. So I thought it might need a new clutch. It didn't, it just needed a new slave cylinder or something. But I took it down to my mechanics, had that replaced and a load of other things as well. I spent about £900 on it. And I've got, if I get my asking price of 4,995, about £300 profit in that one. So I have made a bit of a mistake with it. But still like that one. But what I was going to say was I buy that many cars, I can't win on them all, can I? So let's not dwell on that. Over here, you might have seen this last time. This is a really nice little car. It's a petrol Yaris automatic with a proper auto box, not a semi-auto box. Now these are about as bulletproof as you can get, but a bit like the Golf in the showroom, they just look dear for what they are. It'll no doubt be very reliable and won't cost you an awful lot, but they just look very expensive. That's 9.5 grand or something for a 10-year-old Yaris automatic. Granted, the miles are low, but still, it just looks dear. Over here, we bought this one from a YouTube viewer actually, a Citroen C3 in quite a nice shade of Barney the Dinosaur purple. That's actually sold, it sold yesterday. This is one of those that I haven't seen. This arrived yesterday afternoon. So it's a 2018 new shape Audi Q5 diesel. That's not good, is it? Somebody's tinted those windows themselves. Look at all the bubbles in it. Why don't you just pay a professional? I'll have to get Paul at Pro Tints out to take that off and then redo it properly. But these are good cars, you know. I've had a few of these. Yes, they're a little bit bland, but they are good cars. And this one's only done 8,000 miles. 8,000 miles in 6 years. So the colour's probably not everyone's cup of tea, but the mileage will sell it anyway. This Fiesta is called, the paint colour's called something like hot magenta. Is it hot magenta? Or, I think it's hot magenta anyway. This one came in part exchange. It's a 2009, first of that later shape Ford Fiesta. It's done 99,000 miles, but as soon as I got in it and drove it, I thought there's a bit of life left in this. And that kind of thing always seems to sell. So I took it to my mechanics, spent hundreds and hundreds on it. It needed a new back box and various bits and pieces. It's got some battle scars, but it isn't really worth painting. So I just thought I'd keep the price cheap and it'll sell. Somebody, probably a girl in that colour, will have the first car there. And they are decent cars, the Ford Fiesta. What else can I show you then? That I bought last week. I've seen that one. I've driven it. I know all about that. That's a little 1 litre. That's a decent thing. The mileage is low. The service history is impeccable. It's come from Northern Ireland originally. What else can I tell you about it? It's in an unusual colour of orange. That's the sort of thing that I get asked for all the time. Have you got something cheap to insure? My son's just passed the test, all that sort of stuff. Over here, we've got a Toyota Yaris. Again, this is another one that I need to order a parcel shelf for because, as you can see, it doesn't have one. So I've got two now. What was the other one? The Corsa. I'll be on eBay later, ordering bits. That's a 5-door Yaris petrol. It's done 60 or 70,000 miles. That's been in stock for about 6 weeks now. I've had a few test drives on it and a few low cheeky bids, but that can sit there until I find the right buyer for it. Right, I haven't actually seen... Right, let me start again. I bought two Minis last week. One very low mileage automatic 5-door hatch that's beautiful. So this is only done, it's a 2016 Cooper petrol, and it's only done 15,000 miles. And it's a proper auto in what's quite a good colour really. It's got the black roof and the black mirrors, but the colour's sort of like an Audi Nano Grey or a Nardo Grey. Yeah, it's a nice colour. So that, I've got no doubt, will sell quite quickly. That mileage will sell it alone. This one here is the previous shape, but it's a Mini Cooper convertible. Sorry, not a Cooper, a 1. But this one again has only done 40 odd thousand miles, and I haven't seen it yet. I bought this one based on the description over the telephone, so I can't see the miles because I haven't got the key with me. But I think it's 45 or 46. Now, I'm not a big fan of that era of Mini, especially the convertibles, because they can have loads of problems. But the description of it sounded really nice, sounded really genuine. So I thought, well, why not? It's the right time of year, isn't it? Over here, we've got another 4th gen Kia Sportage. This one's probably the nicest of the bunch, but it is the dearest. This one's only done quite low mileage, I think. Yeah, 22,000 miles, that one. But it's an interesting point to make, actually. That one's 17.5 grand. So it's 8 grand more than the white one. Granted, the white one's done nearly 100, but see what I mean, though? They just look like great value. But as I always preach, I'd much rather have a low mileage car personally, but you do have to pay through the nose for it. Behind me, now I'm a big fan of these actually. This one came in part exchange. It's a Lexus RX 400h. And I actually prefer the 400h over the 450 that replaced it. Yes, they might look a bit old and dated now, but they are really good cars. That uses a 3.3 litre petrol V6 and hybrid batteries and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that, as sad as this sounds, is the sort of thing that I drive myself because I just like the way they drive. This I bought 2 days ago and I haven't actually seen it yet. I've only seen photographs. It's a 2012 Citroen C3 diesel, which means it'll be 0 road tax, it'll do 80 miles per gallon, all that sort of stuff. I actually did a video recently, a desk video at the office, on the most economical used cars you can buy in the UK. And that'll be one of those. Let me show you this one. I did a video of this recently. So this is a late 2009 Peugeot 308 that I bought for just 250 quid. It came in part exchange. I spent another £250 on it and I've got a decent profit margin across it. I thought by now it would have sold, to be honest. It isn't really pitch worthy, if I'm honest. It's done 156,000 miles, but it's quite a decent thing. So anyway, it's there. It should really be relegated to the car park and I'll just pay for a daily pass for it. Over here then we've got a Corsa. They always seem to sell well. In fact, I've just realised the reg, that one's sold. That's going out this weekend. I remember seeing the email thread. Over here we've got a petrol automatic Honda CR-V. Now these are really good cars. I did a video with one of these about 2 years ago, a proper review, a should you buy video. And I seem to remember saying something like, yes, they're bland, but they are reliable family workhorses. And although the petrol isn't great on fuel, it won't cost you anything in repairs because they just don't break. What else can I show you? Actually, this is a funny story, this one. The Hyundai i20. I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, but you might not have seen it. I bought that little Hyundai i20 in a batch of 5 or 6 cars from a local main dealer. And I was driving it back. That was the one that I picked up first because it was the easiest one to get out and I just jumped in that just to get on my way. And I was really quite pleased with it. I mean, it's a 2010, late 2010 Hyundai i20 petrol, so it's not worth getting excited about, but it only done 60 odd thousand miles and it was just really tidy. So I was driving it back, the radio was set to radio 2, the air conditioning worked, the clutch was nice, it wasn't rattling or squeaking, and I thought, this is quite a decent car, it's obviously been looked after. So I didn't bother doing a vehicle history check. And it turned out that it had been involved in an accident and then repaired. So had I known that, I wouldn't have been so excited about it. But by the time I found out that, I'd already prepared it at my mechanic, so it's had a service, an MOT. My mechanic actually called me about 3 hours after I dropped it off to say, that little Hyundai's a minter. It's all ready to pick up. We've done the service, done the MOT. It's quite a nice little thing. So I was really disappointed. As it turned out, I spoke to my contact at the main dealer and it wasn't a problem because the price reflected that. But it just goes to show you need to do a vehicle history check before you buy a car. Because I've done this job for 15 years now and I couldn't even tell that I'd been involved in a whack. There's just no obvious sign. I mean, for a car of that age and value, it might have been the most minor of nudges. And don't get me wrong now, I don't like to sell cars which have been involved in an accident, but my advert says that it has. I've been completely upfront about it, and it's reflected in the price. So it's still a decent runaround for somebody on a budget. I mean, for example, my colleague Steve's Jaguar, that was written off recently after the most minor of nudges. They broke a tail light and the bumper needed to be adjusted, but they'd written it off. So if you check out the Transformotion channel, there's a video on that Jaguar and on that subject, which explains how they fixed it for about 60 quid. And the car's been written off 60 quid's worth of damage. Doesn't make any sense, does it? So I suspect that could have had the same sort of thing. Oh, I've just spotted. That's 3 parcel shelves we need. 3. There are loads more cars at my mechanics as well. My mechanics, there are a few at the body shop. We've always got, I mean, as you can see, we're completely packed out here, which means we've got 38 or 39 cars in stock. But in addition to that, there'll be about 10 or 12 throughout the village of Romley at various places. So I should really do more of these videos more often because the stock does change all the time. Last month we had another busy month, so the stock rotates so quickly. So I think that's about it, guys. Thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. I'll leave the link below. And yeah, I'll see you next time. I'm off on eBay now, ordering some parcel shelves. What an exciting night. See you later.